Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Long Walk Talks. My name is David Hensley. I'm the owner and creative director of Long Walk Productions, and this is our very first crisis crossover episode between ourselves and our sister podcast, This Is A Work and This Is A Takeover. Today I am joined by my Long Walk Talks co-host, Stan Wilson Lee.
Peace out.
Peace out? We're just starting.
Yes, peace in.
And Chris Stomp the Yard Barnes.
We are just starting.
And in a little bit, he's not here right now, but later we'll be joined by the host of This Is A Work, David Two Doggz Hayes.
Heard of him.
And we are also joined by two hosts of our other sister show, This Is A Takeover, Shelby Ray.
Woo!
Hey there. Hey, guys.
And Gina Belmont.
Woo! Hey, y'all. Hey.
So before we begin this crisis crossover episode, I want to put a quick message out there, and I want to say that Long Walk Productions supports the Black community, and I speak for all of the Long Walk podcast family when I say that Black Lives Matter. So today's topic, we are going to be discussing what we have all been doing to keep ourselves sane during the quarantine. We're going on 3 months now, so I'm sure we've all got 3 months worth of media that we have been consuming. So Stan, why don't you kick us off? What have you been doing multimedia-wise to keep yourself sane?
I'm, of course, part of that group that spent a lot of time with the Netflix and the Amazon Prime and the Hulu and the CBS All Access. I've discovered a few things, restarted a few things. Star Trek Picard was brilliant. Upload on Amazon Prime is brilliant. So I've been doing a lot of movie watching, a lot of TV watching, and also going on to YouTube and watching. I actually, because right now I'm supposed to be in Brussels.
Oh.
Oh, really?
Wow. He was supposed to have his trip, yeah.
And so Wednesday night,
You went on a virtual tour?
I went on a virtual tour of Bruges because we were supposed to be in Bruges yesterday.
So cool.
And I was like, oh my God. And there was no vocal narration to it. It was just this guy with his GoPro. And I think he did it in November or December and of 19. And so right before the stuff happened, and he was just walking through places, and then he would get on one of the canal boats to do one of the canal tours. So he got on there, and so it's like I saw Bruges from the canal, and I was like, oh my God, that's awful.
I'd be like that too.
And so it's like, and I was texting Amanda. I was like,
now, audience member or listeners, you can't see this,
but I'm texting.
But he is texting his palm.
I'm texting Amanda on my palm, and saying how
also,
in a parallel universe
right now. So
what happened?
Saying we're not in studio right now, so Gina and I cannot see Stan. I can see.
Yes, I see.
Can see Barnes,
Don't worry.
David.
Don't worry. I can attest. I looked over and I did see the same
naked.
thing. Do you know how quick I would walk off this podcast?
I am so glad I can't see you now, Stan. Thank you. Thank you for that.
But I'm texting Amanda saying how, in a parallel universe we're in Bruges right now, right? And guess what fella's doing a virtual tour now, and it was me. And so,
spoiler alert.
Really?
Because
the whole thing.
I think that's what I've come to terms with, is that we actually went through a portal somewhere, and that we're actually in.
Somebody fucked with the timeline.
Spider-Stan in the multiverse is what it is.
Somebody stepped on a butterfly.
Oh.
Went back in time to kill Hitler, and look what happened.
It's just like, it's fucked up. It's like
Rookie mistake.
I'm glad
Right.
Hitler is killed, but obviously it didn't help anything. But
I love that's where we are. We got there.
Catch up there for a second.
we're in a multiverse.
Got it.
That's the only way I can explain and deal with this. But anyway, in a parallel, I'm in Brussels right now. But so it's like I've been doing virtual tours, and but I've also discovered because bands, rock bands and theaters and stuff, since they're all dark and they can't do their tours or do their shows, they've been doing a lot of virtual stuff, whether by Zoom or other platforms, and so they get their band together or their cast together, and this goes with you and Shelby and Gina. I loved. I watched the link to the Wild Children's Theater.
Oh, did you? Good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
That was good.
The Happy Prince story is now one of my favorite stories of all time.
Aw, good.
Yay.
I know that wasn't your guys' piece, but just saying that what you guys did with that, and how you use the platform and how the editing and everything, seamless. It for what it was.
All right.
It was. I give you guys all the props in the world for that stuff. So.
Wow,
Yeah,
a
Children's
rare.
Theater has been doing a lot of stuff like that virtually.
Yeah.
So they've
really
been
cool.
kind of going forward with that ever since this all happened. So they've
Yeah.
done a good job with that.
Yeah, and shout out to Onstage because
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
I can't
my
even
gosh.
Imagine. We weren't
That-
a part of that this year, but I can't even imagine how
Yeah,
doing Zoom rehearsals with all of those children.
4
would-
shows with
would
about
be.
100
It sounds like a nightmare.
kids.
I agree.
Amanda's nuts.
Woo!
Amanda's
Yeah.
she went
Shout out to Amanda Lyle.
she went crazy, but she made it through. But whatever you guys did for that, and how it was done, wonderful. It was great. So I discovered the whole use of Zoom. I actually downloaded Zoom.
I just wanted to point out that was a rare feel-good moment for this show at a time when
There
we're
may be
usually.
more because I'm about to talk about Detective Pikachu.
Oh God.
Some
You know
more.
what?
Hey.
You're welcome, David. It's because
Yes.
Gina and I are here.
We're
This is a
just-
takeover.
It just
We
took
have a lot of
adding-
positivity.
Adding you two.
Kindness.
But no, seriously, Children's Theater. A big shout out to Onstage and everything else that the way they were able to Children's Theater is able to adapt to this crisis and still do the stuff. I haven't seen what they did with their full shows or whatever, but all I know is that the Onstage stuff. That was great. That was really great. The kids totally committed to it. And yeah, I was super impressed. So all props.
Awesome.
Hey.
And that doesn't come easy for me to give that much praise, but yeah,
true.
it was.
I
Great.
know. I can tell it's hurting you right now.
Usually
This
Stan's
little
form
part
of.
of him just cringe.
I could just say it wasn't horrible.
I was about to say Stan's usual form of praise is it wasn't horrible.
I mean, I'll take that too. I don't care.
I mean-
I'll take praise whenever I can get it.
It was way beyond it's not horrible, so I give you all props. Because I also did. I don't know if you know George Gray, but he does play readings in Charlotte, and usually would get like an IHOP, and people would go to IHOP and they would read the. But he's now doing it virtually, and I actually he's doing an original play that he wrote back in the 70s, and I was part of it last Sunday, and so the format of Zoom, and we don't have to not do our shows, or we just have to adapt the way the shows are done. Of course, there probably will never be a Romeo and Juliet balcony kiss scene ever again. But
Well, don't say ever again.
You just paint lips on the mask and just touch it
I was
together.
going to say theater's going to get back to business as usual at some point.
I'm concerned that it's all going to be Greek, ancient Greek style presentational theater for the time being, and
Hey,
that
I'd be
scares
fine
me.
with that.
That's pretty. That's an interesting
It
idea.
scares me because that means it's literally going to be debate club style theater. So whatever. But anyway,
and
so,
God help you if your internet connection goes out in the
I
middle
know,
of
right?
your big monologue.
and that was another thing with you on stage, folks, is that whatever technical difficulties happened, it was dealt with so well, and so the pieces were so tight, and so yeah. I'll never give enough props for that. So bear with me. You got on stage was Children's Theater's got this down, and it was wonderful to see. And
well,
I think I
hope more
talked to you about,
theaters adapt to that. I hope
Yes.
more theaters will catch on, and because I feel like that's a really good way to bring theater to the masses anyway. But especially in a time like this, like it can make it.
I think I presented it to
even more
David.
accessible.
I think I presented it to David about, maybe free reign since it's Shakespeare anyway, or close to it, and then because and then after watching the the stage combat Zoom stuff that's out there, like Zoe Bell and stuff, that you guys can still do the stage combat. It just take and David's great at this. It just takes creative editing and things,
Yeah.
and so the idea that you're presenting the piece and it's still being presented pretty damn close to the live experience. And if you're doing it, streaming it live, you're gonna have a good portion of that live experience still happening. So
See, I didn't get to watch this performance that you're talking about, but my mind immediately goes to worst case scenario, which would be Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou? Oh shit! Hold on, you guys. Let me just. Okay, all right. Where was I?
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Can you guys
me?
still hear me?
Can you see me?
but
Am I there?
But see, that's what I'm saying is that's what was so great about watching. It's like, because I know that's why rehearsal was so intense for you guys, I'm sure, for on stage and stuff, and because all that, the bugs could be foresaw. You could anticipate what flaw could happen, and fix that bug as much as possible. And then if it happens, whatever. And if anything, you can have the script slightly off stage, somebody holding cue cards up for you if you want, and
If only real life theater could work that way.
right. But the idea that yes, the worst case scenarios are always there, but it just showed, because I'm going on to not only live theater but bands doing their festivals. I watched Peter Hook and the Light. Peter Hook is the bassist for. He was the original bassist for New Order, and he was the bassist for Joy Division before they became New Order. And The Light, his band The Light, they basically do full albums, performances of Joy Division stuff or New Order, early New Order stuff before he left the band. But he did at the beginning of this week, him and his band, they did 5 windows on Zoom, and it was actually part of a actual music festival that happens in Britain at this time. And of course, I forget the name of the festival, but they were one.
Is it
band.
Glastonbury?
It's not Glastonbury.
Okay.
It's a smaller festival, like Munster Rules or something like that. But
It is a good cheese.
but
Damn it, Chris! I was about to make that joke.
and
Great cheese.
the sound production and everything, it's like they had their, the band was in their headphones so they could hear everybody else in the band. They had set up to where the music, you were seeing it live.
Yeah.
And then the platform worked perfectly, and they just, so it's like discovering stuff like that was wonderful. Doing the virtual tours of Bruges, and they actually got to the building that what's his face falls off in the movie.
Oh, Brendan Gleeson. in the movie In Bruges.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when you were supposed to be on the Amsterdam portion of your trip, how much marijuana did you smoke?
I haven't had any marijuana this whole time. Can you believe it?
That is tragic
This
for you.
might be the longest Is this the longest I've been without it? But
But you made your own red light district?
I got my hand.
Oh no, did we break him already?
Dave, why do you encourage
I
this?
got a little red light bulb in my room, in my office.
At some point, you have to take responsibility for the things you do.
I know.
Standscaped and everything. But stuff like that, discovering things like that, I did a lot of that. And then of course you can turn and get guitar instruction. So I'm playing the guitar again.
Nice.
And I've been writing some tunes. But I also have rediscovered, and this was sort of because I got depressed not being in Amsterdam and I didn't have any marijuana. Did you know that you could get ready to pour margaritas
Yes.
Yes.
in bottle?
Literally everyone else here knew that.
You knew this? You never told me this.
What else haven't we told you?
Why would you have told me this? Because I love
the grocery store.
I love the tequila. I love the tequila.
It comes in little pouches.
Well, no, not the mix. Not the mix.
So you didn't get like the little Capri Sun ones.
Okay.
No.
You can get it from the ABC store.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you got that
I got
too.
tequila in it.
Yeah.
I got it at Old Darby's. It has the, it's the Cuervo.
We are not sponsored
I was
by
just
Old
gonna go
Darby's.
get my bottle of Cuervo, and because I haven't had much tequila.
Wow.
But then I said, you can get margarita in a bottle already ready to pour.
Margarina, he said.
And it's got the triple sec and the tequila in it, and it's it's oh my god, and it's like that is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, is the fact
What a low bar.
right is that I don't have to go.
Not going to Amsterdam really fucked your expectations.
This just in, Stan has revolutionized his day drinking.
And I have been day drinking
No kidding.
like a mother, but not today. Because I had this.
Our loss.
But I've drank so much tequila. So it's like I had that bottle of ready to pour tequila, and then I pour into my cup. And then I also, if I want to just do shots.
If you want to
I
be
have
fair, all tequila is ready to pour tequila.
the margarita. The ready to pour margarita.
Technically, any liquid at any
Stan, you
point
keep
is
this
ready
up.
to pour.
You keep this up, this podcast is going to be a memoriam of me. I'm going to die.
The ready to pour margarita is the greatest thing that ever happened.
I just picture Stan like having a coffee mug, and he just pours the mix right into the coffee mug.
While sitting on his front porch in his all white
Yeah.
tuxedo, saying, "It's good to have land."
Because
Ready to go.
my cigar order got fucked
Oh.
up because they didn't have my age verification shit. So,
Well, my first thought was when you were standing in the liquor store and you found that a light shone down from heaven.
it did. It did.
Stan, that's called overhead lighting. That's fluorescent.
Angels singing in
But
the
it was an
background.
isolated light. It had to have been on a dimmer.
They save it just for revelations in the liquor store.
Because I was actually running around, and I actually had to. I got up to the counter, and they got the plexiglass there now, and I was in my mask. Oh, I got new masks. Etsy is a great
Did you
thing
check
too.
what's in his cup? Did you check
Etsy's
what's
a
in
great thing too, because Amanda got me.
Gina,
ordered
is this
me
like when you ask like some kids, "How was your day?" And
Look, that's too personal, and I'm offended. That is so accurate.
I withdraw the question.
I haven't asked anybody about their day in a long time.
No. Oh man. Why you gotta bring it down like that?
But you got to understand that I'm this kind of optimistic and kind of glowing is kind of not what
How far along are you?
not what you would expect of me in the time that
it is not. I'm glad to see you in such high spirits because of all the spirits, apparently.
But it might be also because I am by myself all the time.
Yeah.
So that might help.
So basically, we're slowly reintroducing you to society, is what you're saying.
I'm not going to lie. He's not the only one. This is, the fact that we've been able to start doing these again together has been the height of my weeks in terms of socialization.
Well, the last one we did,
Sure.
The True Romance and Natural Born Killers, that was such a great.
Yeah, that was a great time.
That was
The
a really good
discussion.
episode. I enjoyed that one a lot.
Thank you.
Especially getting to see True Romance again, that was such a special thing, and not having seen it, but stuff like that's what I'm talking about. My experience in this time, I may not have discovered anything new multimedia wise. I've replayed games that I'm crazy about. I've totally rediscovered my love for just losing my mind in video games and losing my days, not just day, but like weeks in video games.
Oh, I believe that's about to come up next.
Oh,
isn't it?
yeah, stay tuned.
But being in the Quarantino episodes, being asked to watch movies that I hadn't seen, and then them turning out to be big surprises again.
Yeah.
And True Romance was just especially great. And then being told about Detective Pikachu.
I did not know I was going to change Stan's life this much.
You did, Chris. You changed his
might
world.
be the single most happy that I've had watching a movie since E.T. probably.
That's a big bar, yeah.
Because I you got your Almost Famouses, and you got your Force Awakens and stuff and the Avengers films where you're just like, oh my God, that was a blast. But the idea of going to a theater with no expectations and actually going in totally cynical and wanting to hate the movie or whatever, and just like wanting to rip it apart and say, this is so sentimental and this is so blah, blah, blah. But then just being totally sucked in, taken in, and just finding your love of story and finding your love of characters again. It was just a beautiful movie. So I thank Chris profusely for introducing us to that, introducing me to that during our episode on.
Well, I said it before on Mike. I was really happy to hear you enjoyed it that much.
Oh my God, it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, Gina and Shelby.
I have. It's amazing.
It's great.
I feel like
wonderful.
at some point, if we keep doing this, we're gonna see a Blu-ray with quotes from you on the Detective
it's gonna
Pikachu
be
package.
it's gonna be the litmus test for all guests on the podcast. Have you seen Detective Pikachu?
Right.
Oh man.
We're gonna take your temperature at the door, and then we're gonna ask you if you've seen Detective Pikachu.
Because
I will never be on Long Walk.
Shelby, that reminds me, we have to end your call.
It literally is.
Damn it.
It literally, if you don't come out of Detective Pikachu saying, that was humanity at its best, you're not human.
God Almighty! See,
human.
I have a copy. Thanks to Chris, I have a copy of the movie now.
Don't push it too high.
And I feel like now, if it is anything other than life changing, I'm gonna be like, "Fuck you, Stan."
It might not be life changing, but
yeah,
David,
I
need it. I need that copy.
I would rein it in a little bit.
It does open up your perspective. Open up and put light into your perspective again. It does do that, and that's what I really, really needed.
All right.
I'm not going to go that hard. I'm just going to say I think it's a good movie.
Well, that's a good segue. Let's move on. Chris, what have you been doing during lockdown?
Well, unfortunately, I may have said before the horrible wheels of fate set in motion, I had actually lost my job because the store went out of business. So I was already sort of, I was semi-quarantined, and then the bookstore had to furlough everybody and shut down. So I've had, unfortunately, a lot of free time and not a lot to do. Before I found things to focus on, I was just kind of. I've reached that age where it's like I want to put myself to work, not only just to earn money, but you realize just how much of your day is devoted to what you do when you don't have to do it. And it's like, and now I realize why I enjoyed summer vacation so much, because it was bookended by going and doing stuff, so I could enjoy it more when I didn't have to do it. Because so naturally distraction is key. I've been diving headfirst. I've been watching a lot of YouTube, a lot of the stuff I regularly watch. I got more into a little bit of some streams, because especially video game streams from people I like, because they're going to be long by design, so it's a lot of content to watch through. Specifically, I haven't watched. I should go back and watch all the movies I've been meaning to watch, but I did watch 2 for our video game movies podcast, and one of them you may have heard of is Detective Pikachu.
Wait, what movie?
Detective Pikachu.
This is weird indie hit called Detective
got
Pikachu.
it. Okay, cool.
We're gonna fuck around and end up being the unofficial sponsor of Detective Pikachu.
And-
only
Ryan Reynolds.
David.
Ryan Reynolds should get a series for Detective Pikachu. That's what it's like. They're making Deadpool PG-13, so it's like he should say, "Hey, fuck that! I'm doing Detective Pikachu. If you want me to be PG, rated."
Pichu? So, Chris, continue.
And the other one I mentioned on that podcast was Sonic the Hedgehog, which was good. It was actually decent. I wouldn't put it above Detective Pikachu.
Oh,
but
really?
Yeah, no, it actually was good. They did a good job with it.
Oh, I did not. I did not.
It's worth a
I
read.
don't think any of us saw that coming.
It's
Yeah, no.
it's
No.
surprising, but they did a good. They worked it in. It's like I was kind of surprised. It's one of the things like I was surprised it was as good as it was.
Well, especially with all the drama that was around it.
Right,
They had to
right.
do
But they
a lot
did.
of,
They fixed his
redoing
look,
stuff.
and they actually had solid writing and acting and everything. So
Because
yeah,
you like Jim Carrey a lot in that.
he was good. He fit the
I
role
was
especially well.
gonna ask you, Barnes, what level of Jim Carrey is Jim Carrey in
Oh,
this film?
he's hamming it up big time. He's
Oh,
almost
fabulous. Okay,
He's
ham Jim Carrey.
he's almost back. He's like a villainous Ace Ventura almost.
Oh,
He's
beautiful.
He's ham all. He's eating all the scenery he's in. It's
okay,
great.
good.
So he's ham
Okay,
and
I'll take
cheese.
that.
Yes, he is. It's
All right, I
it's
can definitely add that to my
wonderful. He commits. He knows what he's doing. It's great.
Okay, good.
So that was like the main movie stuff I watched. But really, where I decided to blow hours and hours is in video games. And I went back and I started playing a few things that I had left off at. I picked up some new stuff. I highly recommend Streets of Rage 4 for anyone who's into that kind of game. It came out. It's a lot of fun. The work shows. It is that wonderful level of I love playing this, and then I can as I love playing it, I'm screaming about all the bullshit I have to get through in a level. They made the levels just long enough that you are just by the end of it you're frustrated and you're like, I'm about to quit this forever, and then you beat it and it's like, oh, okay. They knew the exact level of frustration that would push you to get through it without making you quit. Which is weird to say as a compliment for a game, but it works. It works in some games. And then the latest thing, aside from like YouTube in general and stuff like that, the game. I wish Doggz were here so I could, because I've already told Kara, his wife.
Maneater?
No, but I want to get
Yeah,
that. Have you
that
heard about that
game.
game? Yes, you are a fucking shark. It's it's a shark PG.
It's
Wait,
beautiful.
It's a shark
It is an
RPG
RPG where you
roleplay.
play a shark in the ocean and you
And you
Eat
things.
people.
you eat people, you eat things, you have
great.
missions, you level up. It sounds like the best thing ever.
I wrote
That
that.
sounds
Dang it, Chris!
awesome.
I wrote that down to talk about.
Yes. Oh my god. I can't say much more else because I haven't played it yet, but I want it so bad.
There is a storyline, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's great.
Oh, before I get to the last thing I was playing, I finally finished South Park: The Fractured But Whole.
Stop
A
it.
game. A
great game.
Yeah, it is a fun game. It is a game I stopped playing because I hit a part in the game that frustrated me, and I just kind of like went no, and then I stopped. I stopped for like it would be at least a year since I picked that game up, and I just finally sat down. I was like, okay, I'm getting through this. That game's plot is hilarious. It's not quite as outrageous as the first game's plot, but both of them are still fun games to play.
Pretty solid game.
Yeah, very solid. But the game that currently has consumed all of my time, and boy do I mean that literally, is a game called My Time at Portia. It sounds weird. I found out it's actually a crowdfunded game that got off the ground. It's based in the same. Have you guys heard the Harvest Moon games? Those
Yes.
kind of like farming life simulators thing. This is kind of similar, except that it's to focus on because a lot of games nowadays are like have crafting involved as a tool or a mechanic in them.
Yeah.
This one is literally like a Harvest Moon type game where you're a craftsman / builder.
Oh.
Literally kind of the same plot really is like your dad has passed away and you've come to town to take over his shop and build up everything and build the reputation of the shop. And of course, but the funny thing is the backstory is basically this is after the post-apocalypse in this world where like every society completely crumbled and then had to rebuild itself. So it's in this weird agrarian city-state kind of situation where they've rebuilt themselves. They reuse some technology, but now they're kind of afraid to use technology too much because that's what led to the big fall. Seriously, you learn this just touch and go because there's a church in the game called Church of the Light, and they're like, yeah, technology went too far last time, and that's why everything blew the fuck up.
Wow.
So amongst that, and it's got Harvest Moon mechanics where it's like...
So basically we're living the prologue to this game currently?
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Yeah, this is... Yeah.
Look, we all thought it. You didn't have to say it.
Well, he's going to be the one to say it.
Stop
if
it.
anybody's going to say it.
Yeah, no, it's kind of true. It's kind of very true. But it's got like the Harvest Moon stuff where you go around and you be social with everybody. It's actually surprisingly progressive because it's got options for like people. Once you've built them up into friends enough, you can choose to date. I want to say there's like at least 20 characters, male and female. You can choose regardless of whatever gender you are to date and or marry. So it's like, yeah, it's like there's some people in the town you just build up a relationship with. There's some people you can also date and marry, and there's a whole bunch of them, which is interesting on the social side. And then, of course, the main thing is you're building stuff. So you learn how to build stuff. You have to build better machines to build better stuff. This game pushes all of my obsessive buttons. All those obsessive little, I need to get these things done so I can get on to the next thing, that little worker bee obsessive mode in my mind. And it's the perfect storm because it's like, okay, well, to build this, I need to craft all of these things. So I'm setting in motion like 5 different things at once, and I want to get those done. So it takes so much end-game time to get that done. Well, I'll go off and do something else. All right, while I'm doing that stuff's done. I got to go get these other materials to craft these things together so I can craft the bigger thing I need. It is unending. And I will tell you a story. When I sat down and started playing it for the first time, I sat down a little after 10, and I got carried away, and I played until around 5 in the morning. Yeah. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do that again.
And you
That's too much.
Narrator.
That's too much, and I'm an adult, and I need to stop doing that because, even if I don't have to go anywhere the next day, I don't want to throw off my sleep cycle. I don't want to screw anything up. So the next day I sat down earlier, and I was like, I'm going to play, and I'm going to stop. I'm going to cut off at midnight so that I have time to stop and sit down and then go to bed properly.
He didn't stop at midnight.
He did not. Now,
Spoiler alert.
He went till 6.
I sat down at 8 p.m., I started playing. What time do you think I stopped playing?
4 in the morning.
I was going to say 5.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say just sunrise in general.
Mm-hmm.
I already know the answer.
That's
You
right.
told
I
me this.
told you. 11 a.m.
The next day.
The sunrise was beautiful, by the way.
I love video games.
No, nothing?
15 hours. I played that game for 15 hours
Did you
straight.
at least eat or anything?
I
Like
did I took one quick break
Go
to
to
grab a
bathroom?
snack, and then I sat down and I just there's a point in my brain where it's like fuck it.
That's
doing
impressive, Barnes.
It's not impressive. No, it's the thing. Yeah, it's that thing. Is like
Crazy.
it's that thing. Is like where you got to stand up and go, okay, now I have to be my own parent and be like, no. No, you have to
Chris,
stop
you have
it.
to go to bed.
Yeah, exactly.
But I find myself justifying. Okay, is there anything I need to do today?
Well, that's the thing. There isn't.
Go to bed
I could have kept going through that day, but I had to stop. And I actually took a break for about near a week after that.
And it was the
I
longest
would
week
think
ever.
so.
Because I was just like, I recognize like that's unhealthy. Now that hasn't stopped me from still staying. I haven't done that again, but it still hasn't stopped me from staying up way too late.
The first step is recognizing.
Yeah,
And you did that.
but then my second step is not doing anything after recognizing.
So you're like every other person,
Fuck you.
so you're fine.
Kinda, yeah.
It's
So
fine.
that's currently ruining my life, and it won't be stopping anytime soon.
Yay!
Now, does this game like have a hard endpoint, or could you conceivably just keep doing this for the rest of your life?
Well, no, it has a main plot that you will eventually finish, and then it's just like you can just keep going after that for as long as you want.
Wow.
Oh,
Like Star
man.
Trek Online.
Kind of, yeah, but no.
We're also not the official sponsors of Star Trek Online.
But it's a fun game, and if you're more responsible than I am, I'm sure you'll get just as much enjoyment out of it at a slower pace. But yeah, and I'm kind of glad I didn't fall into that sooner, because I don't know if you'd have seen me at podcasts. I would have just been sitting on that couch until I died, or dehydration.
We'd have had a weekend at Bernie's, you.
Yes.
Wow.
I don't know how that would work for an audio podcast, but yeah.
But you do that to me like every time, right?
That was the world's most uncomfortable pause. All right. Well, while we are still waiting on David Doggz. Oh, wait a minute. I spoke too soon. Doggz is here. Can one of you guys...
Oh, perfect. My segment is over.
Oh,
It is nice though, having something to just kind of like distract, because when I sit down and play that game, it's easy to just zone out for a while and not have to focus on anything.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's nice to have that kind of a distraction from looking at current events.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Truth.
All right.
I was just, hey Doggz, I was just telling them about how a game I picked up from Kara ruined my life.
The Porsche thing.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, listeners, let's give a hearty welcome to the host of This Is a Work, David Doggz Hayes.
Hey.
Yay.
What's going on, Gina, Shelby, Stan, Barnes, and Hensley?
Hey, he's
Welcome
all right.
back to the show, friend.
Oh, thank you so much.
Well,
How do you
Doggz,
manage to keep booking him?
it's just a talent that I have. I talk to his people.
Also, I don't
his
know
people
what
talk
word
to mine.
I don't know what word I said, but I meant to say booking him.
I don't know what word you said either, but I just rolled
It almost
with it.
went like book.
Words are hard. It's okay, Barnes.
Yep.
Words are hard.
Well,
we're
Doggz,
getting
And I'm not
used
the
to,
one who's been day
talking
drinking.
to-
Well,
yeah,
so-
we're
Normal
getting
people.
used to talking to people, so
Yeah.
words
It's
are
fine.
hard.
yeah, we're all getting reacclimated to society again.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, Doggz, since there is a possibility that we might lose you again since you're on call, why don't you tell us, what have you been doing during the quarantine to keep yourself sane?
Well, honestly, while everybody else has been quarantined, I've been working. I have nothing has really changed for me, except I can't go to the gym anymore. That's about it. In fact, I've been working more, as you can see. In the past 10, 11 weeks, however long it's been, my work has doubled.
10, 11 weeks, 3 years, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time is irrelevant.
No, it really isn't. Now
I have kind of forgotten how time works explicitly.
Everybody's doing that too. It's not just people in this room and on Zoom over here. It's
Excuse you, that is Skype.
oh, Skype. Sorry,
Thank you. Please get it
Thank
correct.
you.
thousand apologies.
Baby. Training.
Sorry.
But yeah, well, so I've doubled my work efforts here, and since I can't go to the gym, I'm slowly working on building a home gym in my garage. So that's very slow going, because everybody else has had the same idea as me. So there's no more dumbbells to be had, no barbells to buy.
It's kind of like when everyone decided they were finally just going to go ahead and get a Nintendo Switch, too.
Exactly like that. But I got a few things. I got a chin-up bar recently, so and some more dumbbells. So it's slowly coming along.
Nice.
Very nice. Now, are you still playing any games?
I'm playing a lot of video games. I'm going back to Skyrim, which, let me tell you how happy my wife is about that.
I'm sure she is.
She is, Shelby. She absolutely loves the Elder Scrolls.
Yes.
She said the other day, "Oh my God, will you hurry up and get home so I can watch you play this game for the 57th time?"
Yes, Kara.
Yes.
Dragon.
There are. I don't know. What's not to
man.
love?
All right.
Yeah. Just a lot of Elder Scrolls this entire time.
Very nice.
I need to get the remastered for PS4.
Oh,
free.
it helps. And there's a lot of crazy mods you can do it. I'm really enjoying myself, and so is Kara.
It sounds like it. We've had some very weird wrestling content during this time.
Sure have.
Do tell.
Oh no, I'm just tossing that one back over to you.
Well, such as I guess we should start with Becky Lynch getting preggers, and
The Ma, Becky Lynch.
The mom.
I haven't heard that. I like that.
That shirt is
I like
official.
that a lot.
Go on with WWE's site. That shirt's official.
No way. I thought Dave just made that up.
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm clever. I'm not that clever.
That's giving him a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Have you been watching?
All right,
Game
Gina,
On?
scale it back.
Ronda Rousey was on the last Game On.
I'm aware that she was on it. I haven't been watching it.
She was on the Gronk's team.
Oh, right on.
It's a really horrible show, by the way.
And Gronk ended up joining WWE and then getting his release within a month and a half, maybe.
Well, Doggz, correct me if I'm wrong, but he still has the 24/7 title.
Yes.
I thought that R-Truth got
No,
it back the other night.
No,
Did he
got
not?
it back. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
R-Truth, didn't he pin him on a football field or something? I saw an article about it.
Something like that.
R-Truth got it from him out in public.
Yeah.
They're going across multiple shows and multiple networks. I can't keep up. I really can't.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know.
Because after that one promo, I was really worried for Tom Brady.
Well, let's see what else has gone on.
Tom Brady.
Gross.
Let's see what we've had the very first WrestleMania in the Performance Center with no crowd. That was
Sure did.
With a secret
His-
hidden boss fight at the end.
that. What was that about? Let's see what else did we do? So we had Money in the Bank where Asuka won and then immediately got the title for Becky's pregnancy.
Yeah, Gina has thoughts on that, but we can get into that later
Yeah, we'll
on
talk
another
about that
show.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I would love to hear it. Whoa, Nia Jax, just after her dogging out Ronda Rousey for hurting people, is trying to murder Kairi Sane not once but twice.
That
Bless
poor
her,
baby.
sweetheart.
Oh my god.
Like, bless her.
AEW had the best pay-per-view main event in the world. I don't care what anyone else says.
Hey, look, Chris, stop
Yeah.
stealing my content. Let me
sorry.
get to
Let
it.
her
I'm
talk. She's
sorry.
going loud.
Gosh.
A man chased another man on horseback,
We're content creators.
and Brick
The
killed someone with
wrestlers
a
are coming. The
trident.
wrestlers are coming.
And I guess the last thing that I get the most recent was this past Monday. Nia is now in trouble. Now I haven't seen Raw or anything, but she's in trouble for cutting a racist promo on Asuka and Kairi. I don't know. I saw that on one of my podcasts. I
I need to see
don't know
this
how
promo.
bad it is.
I need to see this promo.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing it
So
too.
she's wrestling's Leah Michelle, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I heard about that blow up.
sure.
On Twitter, Leah Michelle, the actress from Glee, posted in solidarity with Black Lives Matter, and that prompted and pretty much almost every black co-star from the show going, "Hey, fuck you! Here's some of the things you did to us on set."
Shelby, did you not know that?
Yeah,
No, I had
She
no
got-
idea about
She
that.
got dragged inch by inch over every
And she
flipping
lost her-
coal.
She lost her promotional thing because of it. What's the company that she
No.
was? Yeah, she lost the promotional thing.
they didn't necessarily say she was racist, just that she was a raging bitch on set. All the
Yeah.
time.
Oh no, she yeah, I had that's another story for another time, but I had
upset.
someone who knew
I don't
her.
know if you can tell, but I'm very upset.
Yeah.
I did not know about any of this. I was not prepared.
This is
Yeah,
just one of the things when I was on Twitter the other day. I was just like, "Oh well, that happened too, huh?"
We're so sorry to spring it on you like this, Shelby.
And oh my god. Okay, I can focus. It's fine. I'll get over
I'm
it.
sorry.
All right. Well, Doggz, did you have any more quarantine sanity related things you want to share?
Let me see. Well, I've had such a crazy week. My mind is actually blanking right now. I'm just so glad to be sitting in a chair that I don't have to hold a steering wheel with. It's right now. I've driven over 600 miles today.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Oh, it's nuts. It was a nutty day.
Well, we are certainly glad to have you here with us in the studio today. I'm glad that you can make it. Well, Shelby, how about you? Let's throw it on over to you live via satellite.
So I have never really been a quote-unquote media person or a media consumer, I guess, or didn't really think of myself as one until I started thinking about it for this episode. Because I've like Doggz, I've been not actively going into a workplace, but I have been working remotely for my job. So I still have a pretty regimented, 7 to 3 timeline where I do have to be on call and do work and stuff. So that leaves, my evenings for content, but I don't have as much time as other people have had to consume content. Not that that's a good thing, because that means you don't have a job. But I have been thinking about different things, and 2 things kind of came to my mind. I know YouTube has been mentioned a bunch this episode, rightfully so, because I have been killing the content game anyway, since, from day one. But I have found solace in cooking shows on YouTube.
Nice.
So I've said this on other episodes of the podcast, I'm very much a people person, so this isolation was very hard for me in the beginning.
Yeah.
I get my energy from people, and only seeing them through a screen for a very long period of time was very hard. So even Zoom calls, I would feel very drained, and so I would just try to be finding solace somewhere, and then you go to Facebook, and then that's negative, and sometimes even Instagram is negative, and so trying to find different things. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Good Mythical Morning.
I have actually. Yes.
Yeah,
Surprisingly,
so
I have because I am subscribed to Game Grumps. It's one of the things I watch, and they've been on. It's Rhett and Link's talk show thing.
Yes.
Yes. So it's 2 creators, Rhett and Link. They are actually originally from North Carolina.
They're actually some people may know them. They're behind the commercial that ended up being the meme of Chuck Testa, the Chuck Testa meme.
Yes, and at the Red House. But
Yes.
Yes. That's another great one. Look that up.
Yeah, so that's kind of their start, and then they moved to LA and got a huge channel and a huge following. And they started doing these episodes called Will It Blank. So basically they would take these foods and say, will it sandwich, or will it ice cream, or will it hot chocolate, whatever. So they would basically take the concept of one food and then take other foods and try to make it do the same thing.
Yeah.
And they would say, will it sandwich, yes or no? So they started doing this on their own, and then when they got more of a following and could actually pay employees, they found this guy. His name is Josh, and he became their chef.
Yeah,
so
Chef Josh.
Yeah, Chef Josh. So he would create their food concoction. So anything that had to do with food, he would do it. And he got so popular that they gave him his own channel, which is called Mythical Kitchen. So
all of that explains so much, because a friend of mine from college was doing this thing for a couple of weeks that he would hashtag Will It Waffle, and it was him taking foods and seeing if he could cook them in a waffle maker.
Yes, that's from them. Yeah.
Mythical Morning.
Yes. So they would. So he has his own show, and they started this pre-quarantine. And being out in California, that's where everything hit first. So they were the ones that kind of went into lockdown a lot earlier than other people did. So they came up with this concept to do their show in their houses. So there were 3 of them that were the main chefs. And they were still doing the episodes, but they were all in their 3 separate houses. So they would have 3 different recipes, but they would still interact with each other. So they would be like, hey, Josh, can you throw me an egg? And like Josh would be like, yeah, sure. And so he would throw his egg from his house, and then one would magically appear in the other house. So it's just very innocent, stuff like that. And, they rarely would bring up anything that's going on in the world. So it was, it's kind of a good escape that I can just kind of put on while I'm working or, whatever, just to see like, oh, I actually used one of his recipes tonight to cook salmon. So that was really fun.
That's nice.
So I've been doing that. And there's another one called Binging with Babish.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys have heard of that one.
I haven't, no.
No, I haven't either.
So it's also a cooking show, but his specialty is he takes recipes from movies and TV shows, and he will cook them. So, like, he did a South Park episode where he did the chili, like Chef's famous chili.
Oh, my goodness.
He did the breakfast that Randy made with the cream fraiche. And all that stuff. So he'll take
He made Kronk
stuff.
spinach puffs one time.
Yes, he made Kronk spinach puffs for him Grooves.
Yes.
And he'll do it exactly how they say it in the movie. And then if it messes up, then he'll just be like, okay, that fucked up. I'm just gonna scratch it and do my own recipe, and it turns out perfect.
Hey, Shelby, let me ask you this: since you've been watching so many cooking shows, is your fiance has he become your guinea pig? Have you tried to do anything and shove it down his throat?
Not shoved down the throat. He willingly eats it. Thank you very much, because it is very delicious what I cook.
Yes.
Oh, well, I have no doubt.
Well, if you want to make him suspicious, make him those spinach puffs.
Oh no!
Just set them in front of him.
But yeah, I actually have gotten into cooking a lot more during this quarantine.
Very nice.
We've been doing HelloFresh.
Yes.
Instead of going to
yeah.
the grocery stores, which has been very nice. It's just, food delivered to you every week, and we've been doing them, and I've definitely been cooking a lot more, and he's definitely enjoyed that. So yeah, he's enjoyed my cooking for sure.
Right on, right on.
But yeah, so been doing YouTube, and then I just recently not I guess recently is about Christmas, but I got a full new set of the Harry Potter series.
Oh, nice. Is it like re-released with new covers, or?
Yes. So they
Gotcha.
have. So basically, the set it has. I was gonna see if I have it near me, but I don't. So they have all new cover art for all the books, and then when you put the books together, the binds make a picture of the castle.
Oh.
Very nice.
So it's I have been a huge Harry Potter fan ever since I was in elementary school, and I have read through the series multiple times at different points in my life, but they were at my parents' house, so with them moving a lot, the series got kind of misplaced along the way, and I only have the 7th one now. So I got a whole new series, and I had to sit down and read it with work and doing shows and stuff like that. So during this quarantine, I've had a little bit more time, and I started the first one and was just gonna see like how far I got, and I'm already on the 4th one.
Oh, dang. Yeah.
Wow.
Very nice.
So yeah, it's kind of cool to read it from an adult perspective, because even though it's a children's series, there's a lot of things in it that you can kind of interpret even to a lot of situations that are going on right now in the world.
Especially the
so
last one.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of interesting to read through it, and then also becoming one of those people that are enjoying the books more than the movies.
Yeah, I always had that problem with the movies.
Yeah, I never thought I would become one of those people, because I started watching the movies before I started reading the books, because the first 2 came out, and I was, David, you're gonna make fun of me for this, but I was not really at the reading level or age to start reading them yet.
Look at that face. Oh, viewers, I wish you could see this face.
Hang on, I'm watching Stan visibly age in front of us.
Well, you say that you directed that comment directly to me, but of the four of us sitting here in my studio currently, I am the youngest one.
Right?
Well, okay, yes, but you're the one that
she knows that you're the bigger Harry Potter fan in the room.
Well, that, and you also, in almost every episode that we've done of This Is A Takeover,
Every
it's either
episode.
been me or Gina has gotten a remark about our age and about how young we are.
It's
Ooh.
always David rolling his eyes, being like,
Oh,
oh my
this is chickens
gosh.
coming home to roost.
Yeah,
So that's why I did that directly to David, but it could be to anybody in that room.
You hear that? It could be to any fucking one of you.
Yeah, fuck, we're old, we get it.
Well, now hang on. I wouldn't know a Harry Potter character if I was kicking one. That's how is this on me?
And he would. It'd probably be Dobby too if he was.
Our new.
Cry right now. This is the second time you've almost made me cry this episode, Barnes.
So to go along with our
Suzanne, third time's a charm.
to go along with our rebranding as
It
Long
is Hello
Walk.
Fresh that Leah and Michelle got taken
Stop
away from.
it!
So anyway,
All right, so what we're gonna do, since we're rebranding as Long Walk Podcast now, our poster is gonna be nothing but David Two Dogs Hayes punting Hedwig the owl.
well, you should be wrestling.
It'll be the logo for Longcast Podwalk.
Boy, look at that face. She is not happy.
She
with
wants to
me.
come through the internet and punch every one of us.
If only I was in studio, I could hit everyone.
You know,
I love Harry Potter.
not to try and rewrite this train again, but I just wanted to talk about briefly. I just wanted to just talk about like movies versus books. And I think you just have to, as much as you love one or the other or both, I think you just have to treat them as separate entities because you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was like because the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie I think is great, and it got me to read the book series. And it's like you have to look at and you read that, and it's like, oh, that's an entirely different thing. I haven't even thought, and I was like, and that's not even including like the original miniseries or the radio adaptation, which ran for years and years. It's just like, yeah, you just got to let that go, and admit you may prefer one over the other. You know, just how,
Yeah, and that's very similar to if you guys are familiar, like with Broadway stuff, the musical Wicked has a book that goes along with it, or I guess it might have been based off of, I guess because it came out before, but I saw the musical in high school in New York, and I became obsessed, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's a book, and I went to read the book, and I was like, I hate this book. Like, this is
Now,
horrible.
that just reminds me of the Jim Gaffigan joke when people say books are better than the movie. It's like, you know what I like about the movie? No reading.
now let me ask you a question. Is Harry Potter in the Harry Potter book? Is there a character named Harry
Yes.
Potter? I didn't know if it was like.
Yes, Doggz.
I didn't know if it was like a Leonard Skinner type thing. Like, there's no
Notice-
Leonard in Leonard Skinner.
No, Harry
It's,
Potter does not front the
There
band
are
Harry Potter.
based bands that don't have a Harry Potter in the band.
Oh, okay.
Do you notice,
But
Shelby,
okay,
how
the
he's
books are Harry
he's
Potter.
intentionally not looking at you, Shelby?
let it
Ray?
go, Shelby.
He's
Let it go.
intentionally not looking at you. It is a choice.
I am just very concerned that at this point in the world, you don't know that Harry Potter is the main character of the series Harry Potter.
You gotta wonder what Daniel Radcliffe was doing for all those years.
Well, he wonders what he was doing a lot of times too.
Oh, he don't have to worry anymore. He's fucking rich.
Fucked up. He was drunk most of the time. He said.
No, well, I mean,
Now,
later
is
years.
Daniel
Later years.
Daniel
Dan,
Radcliffe,
look,
that's the guy
Dan,
from See
you're
No
on
Evil.
her side.
Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe was like.
What is the name of that movie?
Swiss Army Man.
No.
No, he
Hey
was in that
guys,
one though.
where's this train? It's like so
I don't know.
derailed.
We have gone so off the rails.
It was running along the
Stan,
Grand
you
Canyon
were
and then
safe.
flipped over.
Yeah.
You were saved from my slaps, but now
And
you're
now-
not saved.
Nope.
I'm not.
It's him. Get him.
I
Get him.
and I came
his
to
fault.
him late because I
No,
was
he
like
did-
really super old before. It took Prisoner of Azkaban to get me to the book.
Listen to him trying to mansplain to you.
I didn't read any of the books until I saw Prisoner of Azkaban, and then I couldn't wait for the next movie, so I had to read the books. And so I caught up on 1 and 2, and then went right to the 4th book, to Goblet, and I was like, oh my God, I can't wait till Goblet comes out. But I just read a story about Daniel Radcliffe and his career as Harry Potter, and he's like, I was drunk a lot of the time.
Daniel Radcliffe was in Now You See Me Part 2, right?
I don't think so.
What?
Where are we?
What is going on?
so
All right, let's
lost.
write this train.
I had
also
no,
in
and
Horns.
I'm lost.
He's in Horns.
More power to the engines.
Shelby, so you've been rereading Harry Potter then?
Yeah, can I get back on my car?
Yes, please do.
So, yes, rereading Harry Potter, adult perspective. I totally lost, guys.
That is always
It's okay. That was a fucking
No, that
ride
always
that we went on.
that always is an interesting thing to do when you go back to something as a kid and you start to get more of it, or you find the things that flew over your head at first.
I should apologize. I did most of that on purpose.
Yeah, you started that.
He's not going to though. He just says he should apologize.
But he might not. I was just happy you brought up Harry Potter, because it turns out Potter World is one of the first parks. Universal Parks is one of the first parks to reopen.
I did see
Potter
that,
World
yeah.
is one of the first to go along, because Disney's still closed, but Universal Studios Parks, along with Wizarding World, is opening up. So I was supposed to go there this October too, right? Remember? And so I was really excited when Wizarding World is open again. I'm like,
now, is there a Patronus that can protect you from COVID?
well, the stag is pretty awesome.
It's wearing a mask. It's a stag.
All right.
Mine is a bunny. Thank you very much.
Well, Shelby, thank you for that, and I'm sorry that we derailed you so horribly.
No. I have to
it's
add
okay.
one thing. I have to add one thing. My favorite piece of Harry Potter knowledge is the fact that J.K. Rowling felt the need to tell us how wizards went to the bathroom before toilets were a thing in the wizard world.
Yeah, she could do without
She needs
some
to
of
stop.
the extra information for sure. But there was one more thing that I wanted
Go for
to
it.
yes,
Go for
please.
it.
get in real quick. Going back to, you guys were talking about video games.
Yes.
I am not a video game player whatsoever. A first person.
That's fair. It's a
game,
terrible life.
a first person, whatever they're called. They give me anxiety, and
FPS is.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
can I
can't-
tell you something? The game I mentioned, My Time at Porsche, is a third-person thing. I have a fear of heights, and when I start, even though there's no fall damage or anything or any repercussion, jumping off of a tall area in that game, I feel my stomach lurch, despite the fact that I know there's nothing wrong that's going to happen to me or the character. I still get upset.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of
Yeah.
one of those things. Is like I get lost, and then I try to he's like, oh, like there's a compass thing you found. Like, where's the compass thing? Like, I get really confused.
Oh yeah, it's so easy to turn
And
yourself around.
the HUD.
And exactly. So I just enjoy watching them, watching other people play them. But you mentioned Game Grumps,
Yes.
Barnes. I've been a huge fan of Game Grumps for a while. I actually put them on to go to sleep most of the time
I do
because
too.
it's just
Yeah,
kind of
it's-
chatter. They actually have made compilations that are called Sleep Aid.
Yeah, there's a channel called Game Grumps Compilations that they've mentioned before, where they've got like 4 different like 12-hour long videos just so you can put on and just drift off to.
Exactly. And so that has been pretty fun to watch because they'll do the compilation videos and most of the time it'll just be like Aaron fails or
they've got
like,
specific they've got specific
Danny
ones for
gets-
that, yeah.
Yeah, Danny gets really mad at Aaron and all that stuff. So it's basically just like their banter is really fun and
Yes.
it's really interesting to listen to and to watch. And they have so much fun doing what they're doing. And you can really tell because sometimes on those Let's Players channels, like you can kind of tell when they're like, oh, I'm streaming this because I'm being sponsored or I feel like I have to do this. Like, I feel like whenever I'm watching them, I don't get that feeling.
Because they're pretty
Like-
upfront about it. Yeah, they're pretty upfront about what they're doing.
Yeah, and they've been, during COVID, they've actually been able to continue uploading videos because they live near each other.
Yes, yes.
So they've been able to quarantine together.
Yeah.
And do uploading videos. And apparently YouTube has banned any contenters or whatever they're called to say COVID-19.
Yes.
Yes. So yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so they've been YouTube is cracking really hard on that, and they basically are saying if you talk about COVID, if you talk about Corona, like anything that's going on, pandemic or anything, they will like
Demonetize
pull your
you.
funding or demonetize you. Yeah.
Yes.
So they're being really strict about it. So they've been calling it the Backstreet Boys reunion tour.
Mm-hmm. And they call getting COVID getting tickets for the Backstreet Boys reunion tour.
Yes. So whenever they say it, it's always kind of a laugh. So it's kind of made it not as scary, I guess. Like
they're also the ones who brought to the forefront the fact that you'll get demonetized on YouTube if you swear within the first minute.
Yes. Yes.
So
we've broken that rule plenty of times.
So they've brought it up, and then they've actively they've had to bleep out sometimes in the first minute because they accidentally swear.
Is that why I haven't got paid yet?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's funny because sometimes it'll be like the very beginning because they'll just organically start recording, so it's not like okay 3, 2, 1 and we're live. They just literally hit the record button, and so sometimes they'll be in the middle of it and they'll just be really frustrated and like say it right off the bat, and so the first thing you hear is the beep at the beginning of the episode,
and then immediately usually followed by whoops.
Yeah. Oh, it's like, God, Aaron, really? Like it's it's like first 2 minutes, like So they've been kind of.
They have such a good chemistry. It's amazing.
So they've been fun. They're usually on a lot in the background.
Something else I can recommend. He doesn't update as much anymore, but over the past 2 years, there's a YouTuber called Sorrow TV.
Okay.
He what he does is he'll do funny, dramatic readings of there's various subreddits that he looks at the top posts of, like choosing beggars or oops I didn't mean to and stuff like that, and he'll pick the funniest ones and do readings of them, and he's very talented and he does a wide variety of voices. It's really funny to listen to.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, those are the kind of the main things for me.
Nothing else that we can derail you on?
No, and nothing that you can rake me over the coals for liking. So,
okay. Nice. Well, thank you. Yes, thank you for that, Shelby. Gina, how about you? What have you been up to this time?
Yeah, like Shelby was saying, I have been very fortunate and blessed to still have my job, but it has been very interesting. I work as a teacher assistant for a private preschool, and it's a little difficult uploading content all the time, but I have been uploading content this whole time for my kiddos and recording videos of me singing and doing all sorts of stuff, and it's been really fun. And we actually just opened this week, and I don't want to get too gushy. I missed my kiddos, but while I've been uploading, I have been doing some a lot of content that I've been watching online and things like that. I have it kind of broken into different sections, but TV, I don't watch a lot of TV live. That's just not something I ever did. But what I have been watching, and which has been a regular, of course, not to promote the show, but to promote the show.
Do it.
Hey, this is a takeover, NXT. Shelby and I have been having Wednesday night Zooms or videos or whatever to watch together NXT, and that's kind of been like our bonding time and things like that. So we've been taking notes and just connecting. So that's one of the things on TV I've been watching. And one of the other things that I would do watch, and I record, and then like the next day I'll watch it because they're on at the same time, is AEW, and I do enjoy AEW. I don't want to start any arguments or anything like that because I'm not saying one's better than the other. I just like seeing different ideas coming out of this. I like seeing really great wrestling. I enjoy really good promos from all of the companies.
Gina, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you. This is wrestling, so you're required to pick a side and never admit the other side has any good ideas ever.
Never.
You know what?
Anyway.
I'm gonna fight.
Well, maybe you should listen to This Is A Takeover. That's going to be recording soon.
You stop plugging your damn show.
I will plug it all I want, Barnes.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
Cut her mic.
All right. Let's not plunge ourselves into anarchy a second time.
Yes.
Oh, it's less fun when you don't have as much of a stake in it.
I know. Gain, please continue.
You know what? Okay, for our viewers at home, apparently Gina is really hard in autocorrect. And you're not the only one who I live with this. This is a constant battle I fight on any kind of platform whatsoever for any type of typing. They don't know how to spell Gina, whatever.
No,
So,
okay. I know how to spell
phone,
Gina,
I'm
thank
Zane.
you.
Yes.
I know how to spell Gina. It's my phone that
I know
likes...
you do.
Do not listen to her lies. She is an anthropomorphic bottle of Gain detergent, and she is here to talk about wrestling.
I was going to make a comment about how I smell good, but that just sounds weird. So we're going to keep going.
It's an audio medium, Gina.
Detergent.
It smells
Thank you,
great.
Stan.
Right?
It smells great. Anywho,
That was the issue, yes.
Is this our sponsor?
Yes.
We have had so many not sponsors.
This episode of Long Walk Productions is brought to you by Game.
It's a shame you brought up HelloFresh because we're being sponsored by Blue Apron.
As Good Mythical Morning says, not a sponsor.
Yeah.
Neither is
But
tequila.
yeah.
We're an all whiskey podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, whiskey.
I'm sorry, Gina, continue.
Anywho. But coming back onto this train, this is hilarious to me that I'm the one bringing this back. I'm the one with ADD who
It's
is
very true.
always off the rails. So this is hilarious that I'm the one that's somehow bringing this back. But some of the other stuff, one of the big chunks that I've been doing right now of watching content is I have been watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, nice.
I had never watched it. I had, a lot of friends who watched it, but it was a little bit before my time. Don't know if, I know the joke of age is coming soon. But I did finally start to watch it, and I love it. I think it's the right amount of camp at the start that then comes in and just, it's great. The characters are great. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And you definitely forget everything else. I very much watch content for the escapism. That's kind of just how I am as a person. So I like to watch things that make me forget about what's happening just so I can have a break from my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So watching this high school girl and her friends kick butt and kill vampires with horrible facial, makeup at first, and then it grows. I forget about everything else in the world.
Yeah, I always looked at the design of those vampires on the
right.
show and just been like, why would anybody want to be one of those?
And it gave us Allison Hannigan, too, man. It's great.
Oh, sorry. There we go. But yeah, that, and then the other show that I've been watching that I really love is The Great British Bake Off.
Oh, nice.
I had been watching it. Don't hang on. I know this is so lame. Y'all don't judge me. I was very scared to watch when Noel and Prue came on because I enjoy Mighty Boosh. I enjoy that kind of comedy. I enjoy that kind of style. I just was trying to imagine Mighty Boosh throwing together and combining with baking and the joy of watching, yes, so the only thing you're going to feel sadness for is the fact that the souffle did not bake. And so, combining that and then with Noel just being just screaming. But I love it.
I like that show for the fact that the ultimate goal isn't to win a prize or to hype up any sort of false drama.
No.
It's just literally, here, make this.
Now, I'm confused.
Yeah,
is Mighty Boosh in Harry Potter, or is it...
Here we
Dogs, get back in. I don't even know where. Go back to wherever you were. No. Stay where you are. Stay in your lane.
Yeah, that's right. You sent him to the doghouse.
But if they were, they'd be Ravenclaws.
Yes.
Oh.
Might be in the new set, though.
I'm a Hufflepuff, apparently.
Me too.
You for sure are.
I don't know enough about Harry Potter to dispute this, but I took the test on Pottermore for fun.
I'm the sorting.
Mm.
You do like to yell out random things.
All right, well, let's let Gina yell out random things.
Yay!
Gina!
I'm gonna do that. I'm a finder. I'm gonna find where we were in this conversation.
There we go.
Yes, nailed it. And then okay, we're to movies. And I have 2 movies that I wrote down. I've watched some movies like overall for this whole period, but I wrote 2 down because they were really big for me. Please don't hate me.
When you preface it like that.
I just watched Jaws for the first time.
Yes.
Robert was texting me about
that. I missed this movie. I guess it's just because everyone else already knew the punchline. I knew what was happening, but I finally sat down and watched Jaws, and it's lovely. It's just, a really great thriller. I really loved the cinematography. I know that, I don't know, the shots of the fact that the boat was in real life sinking when they were filming that. I'm not a method actor. I don't condone method acting.
The most jarring thing in that movie to me is when that kid gets eaten and he gets bit and you see the fountain spray of blood.
Yes, yeah, that part I was just like, okay, cool, wine glass, chug.
That 12-year-old's dead.
Gina, don't ever apologize for seeing something for the first time, especially something from that early, because the fact that you got to see it makes me jealous that you got to see it for the first time and that you got to experience it. That is one of the great cinematic experiences of all time.
It's the first blockbuster.
It is the first blockbuster.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It really was such a, and I understand. I understand why so many people were so about it. And seeing it on the big screen, oh my gosh, I can only imagine the fear of going to the beach after so many.
They've done big screen showings at pools where people have.
Oh, and on lakes.
Man.
You can take your floaty out into a lake and watch it on the water.
No, of course not.
No.
Yeah,
I
right.
would be terrified the entire movie. I would not watch
Even in a pool, it's like nothing's in there. It's full of chlorine, but it's like.
No, there would be a shark in there.
A chlorine shark.
Created by Harry Potter.
You need to stop.
I'm trying to help.
No, you're
I'm trying
not.
to be informed.
No, Doggz, we know you. You're not.
Oh my gosh. But
that's great.
No.
That's great that you saw Jaws.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yes.
What else did you say?
And then I'm sorry?
What I was saying, what else did you see? What was the next one?
The other one was Coco, which was, oh my gosh. I specifically, and I feel bad, I'm a little bit of a Disney snob. I'm a really big Disney fan, but one of the movies that came out before this movie was The Book of Life. Mm-hmm. And it was produced by, I can't remember the name of the production, but it came out of nowhere. It was right in the middle of just big Disney movie.
Yeah, you're right. It had a
Disney
big groundswell
It was
support.
right after Frozen. Yeah, and then all of a sudden it came out of nowhere, and I remember watching it and falling in love with it. And so I didn't know much about Coco, and everyone who told me everything about it was that it's just so sad. There's just so many heartbreaking moments, and I'm very empathetic. So it's you know what? I'll wait till the time's right. Because if I have a bad day and I watch something like that, I'm done for the rest of the week. I really am. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm a very emotional human being.
Well, that and especially if you're empathetic in the quarantine, I've found myself getting way more emotional very easily for stuff that's meant to hit at your heartstrings. It's like, oh God, why am I crying this much? It was just
oh my gosh.
You
I dropped one thing off the table, and I'm like, why is it on the floor? That's me. That's me all the time. That's me. Yeah. So I was very wary about watching Coco. And then Cinco de Mayo happened, and Chris and I were talking about different movies, and she's like, you need to watch this. You need to watch this movie. And I was like, okay, I'm ready. So, sorry, Stan, I'm going to throw you under the bus here. We had our pre-made margaritas. that came from the ABC store.
Why must you torture this man further?
Again.
And we
But were they
poured them in our
pourable?
margarita glasses.
Were they
Could you pour them?
Did you
Wait,
pour
what,
them?
David?
Were they pourable?
Yeah, could you pour them?
Yes, quite pourable, quite easily pourable, and they were lovely.
Ready to pour them
This
out?
was a huge revelation for Stan.
Anywho,
You really didn't know that?
we got to sit down and watch. Boys.
Yes, ma'am?
We got to sit down and watch Coco, and so it was lovely. It was
Good.
great, and it's a really beautiful movie. And the light, and I don't say this a lot. Like I'll say this in video games, and I'll say this in movies. Lighting effect for me is like a big thing, and I will ooh and ah over any video game that like has lighting effects that just like you forget where you are, something like that. And this movie, the way that the light just hit the pedals, I was sitting there like this the whole time, just like staring at it, just like my eyes were like a 5-year-old at a candy shop. Like I was just so excited to watch it. The graphics are gorgeous. The storyline was beautiful.
That's a huge
And
compliment because there was someone whose job for 3 years it was to render that
yes,
specific
and I
thing.
will give them that credit.
Absolutely.
I will give it to them every day of the week, man. Like I will call out the sound mixers, sound editors, like lighting designers, like in those video games, in those movies. Like yes, give them the credit because I see it and I appreciate it. And so I understand like that's little thing that most other people wouldn't see. I saw it, and it's just a beautiful, breathtaking movie. And then of course, YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube has been something that I've watched since college. I never played video games because I sucked at them so bad, because what my friends would do in high school is they would play first-person shooters, and they'd go, hey, Gina's coming over. Gina's target practice.
Oh.
She's going to be the one, and we're just going to shoot at her because she doesn't know what to do. So then I learned to snipe, and I learned to camp. So take that, friends. I was the
fucking camper.
Look, I was good at it.
It's a
don't
valid
judge me.
tactic.
There's whole streaming videos. There's whole streaming YouTube stuff about how much gamers hate snipers and campers.
Well, then how about you sit down and
But if
teach
you're a
me how to
sniper, it's a
play,
valid
you
tactic.
butthole.
It's totally valid, and I'm like laughing. It's like you shouldn't have been walking around the sniper, man.
Yeah, thank you. Anywho, but I loved when that became such a big phenomenon. I was such a big fan of watching Let's Plays. And one of the first people I started watching was Jacksepticeye. And I have followed him since 2014. Like, I've watched him every day. And Kristen and I are both big fans of him. We watch him. So during the quarantine, we would put on his meme time, and meme time is him sitting there and reviewing different memes that are coming out and things like that. And it was just some of the greatest memes that were just hilarious. It was just nice to like see something funny. And then one of the other people I watch on YouTube that I've been growing to love so much is Xavier Woods. I already adore this man. Look, hey, shout out. We're from the same hometown. What's up, Columbus, Georgia?
True.
What's up? So I already connected with him, and I just love everything about Xavier Woods. So when Up, Up, Down, Down came into my life, I started to really dig into it. But during quarantine, they have been playing Uno.
Nice.
So it's Xavier Woods, Tyler Breeze, Cesaro. I have a big crush on Cesaro. Love that man.
Sure does.
And then Xavier. And so the four of them playing is just, oh, sorry, excuse me. I miscounted. Let me try that again. I know how to count. Xavier Woods, Adam Cole,
Baby.
Cesaro, and Tyler Breeze. There we go. That's four people. The four of them have been playing Uno, and it's just absolutely hilarious to watch these four different beautiful personalities playing this very, very divisive game that will wreck friends and family.
They should play Mario Party too.
No.
That game is a straight up friendship ruiner.
I gotta say, is like I've seen some of the up down down stuff, and Xavier Woods and Tyler Breeze as comedy partners is great.
Oh my!
They're comedy wingmen, yeah.
And Cesaro does not get the credit he deserves for comedic chops.
No, absolutely.
He is a funny dude.
Okay, hang on, guys. I'm gonna quote this because I sent this to Robert in a text the other day because I was crying. I was laughing so hard. So Cesaro was trying to learn English when he came into America, and he was trying to wrestle and all of that. And he was telling this on the Uno channel that they were doing, and he was telling them about how they had this one match and all that, and he had been practicing English so hard that he finally was able to tell jokes, and he was so proud of himself. So he comes up to one of his guys and he goes, hey, what's better than a Christmas tree? And of course, all the guys are like just staring at the screen, like waiting for him to say this joke. And he goes, Christmas 4. And he is so,
Wow.
he's so proud of himself.
That is a Stan joke, and I love it.
I was crying. I was like, this is beautiful. And all of his puns in Uno have been that level, and I love that stuff. I eat that up. So I love Cesaro's jokes, and I love the way that the four of them are playing games, and Adam Cole is beautiful as well. He makes snide comments all the time. He just throws at people under the bus. It's just so good.
Oh, man.
It's so good. So, and then last thing, really quickly, I don't want to take up too much time.
Yeah, we're
the
here.
last thing is I actually have been really blessed to be able to see some live theater productions and things like that. And I actually was very lucky to work with Theater Charlotte, and I was able to work with them during a 24-hour theater festival. And so I've been watching a lot of their content and watching a lot of stuff that they do, and a lot of other things, the quarantine concerts that have been going on for Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to watch and really listen to a lot of the very incredibly talented people in this city and in this area.
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
So I know, and they really are so cool. So a lot of them have been of all different age ranges, different, character types, different people just singing things, just doing monologues. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch art in that capacity and watch it grow, and to be able to be a part of something like that for the 24-hour theater or the 24-hour play production. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, and then, one more thing. The Wolf Among Us. We just started The Wolf Among Us. Don't spoil it if anyone's played it. It's a great video game. I just
the Telltale
started it.
Series.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
That
Telltale
was
series.
the
The Wolf
first one
Among
they
Us.
did, right?
Yep.
Yes, and I'm so excited. I probably will go and play that tonight. So.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Have you heard about the comic series that it's based on?
I have. I'm going to do more research on it because it sounds just straight up my alley.
It's really interesting. Yeah, it's a comic series about like the character. It's for Fables is what it's called, and
Yes.
it's about the fairy tale people having to flee their land and come to the quote unquote real world.
Yes.
And
It
it's really
sounds
interesting.
like I love that kind of stuff.
Very nice. Well, thank you, Gain.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay. So during this time, I have, for most of quarantine, been back at work, but the store that I work in has been closed. So no customers can come in. And because my boss spends most of her time in meetings, I've had a lot of time just to turn Netflix on or Amazon Prime and watch shit while I'm working. So during this time, I watched Blade Runner 2049, which was great. And then as soon as it was over, actually shortly after it started, I was like, fuck, I really should have watched the original Blade Runner before I watched this.
So we did.
So I did them out of order. After that, I went back and I watched the original Blade Runner. On Amazon Prime, I watched the remake of Suspiria, which, Stan, have you watched that
I
yet?
haven't seen it yet.
Oh my God. It's great.
I don't know why I keep dodging it. I don't know why.
What a fucked up film.
I do love the original.
Yeah, the original was great too. Thanks to Stan's recommendation, a movie that I did not think that I was going to like and ended up liking a lot, Extraction on Netflix.
You did like Extraction.
Yeah, with Chris Hemsworth. Thanks to Katie, I finally, way behind the train on this one, saw Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Really?
Wow.
Yes, I had never seen that before. It was lovely.
It's like Gina seeing.
It is a
Doggz
great
for the
movie
first
and
time.
very touching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also on my list. I haven't seen that one either.
Yeah, me either.
Still have not watched Detective Pikachu yet.
You'll get there.
Join the
I'll get
club,
there.
David.
You'll get
Join
there.
the club.
And
It's life changing.
Apparently.
Really?
I hadn't heard
So I
that.
hear.
And Katie and I have watched way too many
It's
horrible
life-affirming.
horror movies to name them all, but that's a favorite pastime of ours is to
I
find
was
the
about to say,
worst
you-
looking
it's like,
horror
you do
movie.
that anyway.
Yeah.
Resident Evil.
Oh my god.
So after that, I sort of, while I was at work, moved on to watching TV shows. And that's how I watched all 5 seasons of Gotham in 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh my
God, what a great show, though.
I fucking loved that show. There were times when it was so legitimately serious and dark and gritty and fantastic. And there were times when it was so fucking silly and melodramatic and soap opera-ish. And I ended up loving all of it.
The guy who plays Penguin.
It was actually for a long time one of my least favorite things of the show, but I grew
Oh, man.
I grew to love that character. But yeah, it took a while. Robin Lord Taylor was extremely annoying at the start of the show. But after I finished all 5 seasons of that, I started finally watching Arrow.
Oh yes.
Really?
Yeah, he's in the middle of that now.
Yeah, I'm in about the middle of the 3rd season, and I'm enjoying that. And just while Katie and I have been home and there's nothing else on, we have watched the entirety of Bob's Burgers. I have no idea how many times.
Such a great show.
We'll just reach the end and start it over.
It's amazing.
Book-wise, I haven't read an actual novel in what feels like forever, but you're going to notice a theme here. Gotham led me back to getting back into Batman comic books. So I read the entire Hush storyline.
Oh, nice. I would recommend it would probably be in line with Gotham if you read the GCPD series.
I have not, but I'll be on the lookout for that.
Because it was a comic series that was set in Gotham City with the cops that worked there.
Nice. Well, I also read the Court of Owls storyline, and I started with the New 52 relaunch from I think it was 2015 when they relaunched the New 52. Rocky start, but I'm enjoying it. And like I said, you'll notice the theme here. Also, thanks to Gotham, I went back and replayed the original Batman Arkham Asylum and got 100% completion on it. Yeah, that game is brilliant, and I love it.
That's a great game.
And I had played it, I think, twice several years ago when it came out, and I never bothered to go back and get 100% on it. And so I finally did that this time. And I also started replaying Arkham City, which is just one of the best games of all time.
Seriously.
One of the few games that Katie, well, I think actually the only game that Katie will play with me, Mortal Kombat. We've been playing a lot of that. They released a lot of new content since the quarantine started. We got Spawn as a playable character, which I thought I was super excited for because that was one of my favorite characters, comic book characters. And then they released an update that included, you're going to love this, dog, another one of my favorite characters, RoboCop.
Yes, they just announced that one.
Now RoboCop is in Harry Potter.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes, he's a Slytherin.
Yeah. He shot Voldemort in the dick.
Charm, dogs. 3rd time's the charm.
Remember that time RoboCop shot that dude in the dick? So, yeah,
It happens. Watch RoboCop.
watch RoboCop.
You don't have to do that.
Taking
No, you
notes.
totally
Taking
have to.
notes.
Because it has a Terminator.
Yeah, you can also play as Terminator. So Katie and I have definitely played a RoboCop versus Terminator match.
All on Mortal Kombat?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They've all.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh yeah, they started that with like 10, where they would bring out like famous movie icons. Like they had the Xenomorph, the Predator, Freddy.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 9 had Freddy Krueger as a playable character, and then 10 upped the ante by adding Jason Voorhees. Oh my God, the name's escaping me from the Texas Chainsaw Man. Leatherface, and then the
What's his face?
Xenomorph and the Predator. And the amount of crazy playable characters in 11, they've got the Joker.
Did they finally release Ash yet?
No Ash from the
damn
Evil
it.
Dead,
Did they
but they've
pull
got
it?
the Joker, Spawn, Terminator, RoboCop, so a couple more ridiculous ones.
Now, there's also there's Yoda and Darth Vader in Mortal Kombat 2, or am I thinking of another game?
You might be thinking of Soul Calibur.
Yeah, you're
They
thinking of
did
Soul
that back in
Calibur.
the day with
Really? Okay,
those two.
that's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
After all the hype, I decided to finally try Fortnite.
Really?
Could not, yeah.
Oh my god.
Could not get into it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
got weird
no.
mechanics.
I think I had a gross misunderstanding of how that game was played, but judging by the way that people talked about it. But I gave it a shot a couple of times. I just couldn't get into it.
And the
I
amount
only
you hate
I only know that.
14-year-olds, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I only know that because of like the kids that I've taught, and some of those kids just sit there and do the stupid dances in the middle
I
of.
hate that dance. Oh my god.
You don't even have to be
The
specific. They're all stupid.
existence in
Yeah.
Summer camp, guys. Like they would not stop doing it. Like,
Ever.
it was constant.
Well, that's when someone needs to
Not only
teach
that,
them
like,
that
they
when
did
you're doing that
wrong.
animation, someone can still hit you.
Fair.
Dang it!
Because when you hit a taunt, you're vulnerable.
And finally, Doggz, you'll appreciate this one. While searching for games to play on my phone, I discovered that there's a mobile version of The Elder Scrolls.
I was aware of that. Yes.
Really?
So
I think
I
Stan
have.
just died a little bit. He got so excited.
I heard the soul leave his body.
Yes.
So I started
yeah.
playing Elder Scrolls Blades, which is the name of the game, and I'm playing as a I can't remember what the name of the species is, but I'm a dragon man. That's
Dragonborn. You're
yeah.
Dragonborn.
There was a weirder name than Dragonborn for it. I can't remember what it was, but yeah,
You
that's,
sound like you need to calm down. Maybe you should give Animal Crossing a try.
Well, it's not as much fun if Kara can't watch it because it just takes all the fun out for it.
You're right. I should invite her over to the house.
You
Just
should.
Her
to,
total
you should.
transformation.
Oh man, no! Are you kidding me? She is enthralled with that game.
it sounds like it.
It is an enthralling game.
I
mean,
Yeah, there's
when
so
she
many
gets to
options.
hear this podcast, she's going to be so
I lost a
happy.
year,
Yeah,
man. I
your tone of voice
literally
says it
lost
all.
a year in Skyrim.
I've lost.
Oh, I thought you were going to say to the pre-mixed margaritas.
Well, this is before
That's
I
okay, yeah.
margarita.
I'm sorry,
That's
Doug.
coming up. That's coming up.
I'm sorry, Dogs. You weren't here for the discussion of Stan discovering pre-made margaritas.
Yeah,
Ready to
apparently.
Ready to pour.
Ready to pour, dogs.
He kept saying "ready to pour" as if literally every other liquid wasn't
Guys, you
already
don't
ready
understand.
to pour.
That's what it's on the bottle. Ready to pour margarita. I had to ask.
Well, it's
the guy
not
at the
Kool-Aid.
counter.
I mean,
I had
it's.
to ask the guy at the counter. Can I
The
really
basic
just?
woman
It
in
is
me
if you don't
was
care
so
about your liver.
disappointed. The
All right.
basic woman in me was so disappointed. So disappointed.
Well,
I was shaming you, Stan.
I'm shamed anyway.
It's true.
now I don't want to cut you off, but
Oh, no, I
I
was
feel
done.
like
No.
all of us here during the quarantine have watched Tiger King.
Oh yes.
Oh, that's right. I
Oh,
meant to
yeah.
mention that. Yes,
I
we
was
have
gonna.
all been.
I realized it,
that.
and I wanted to bring it up, but I was gonna wait for everybody. to...
Including the Joel McHale after show.
It feels
No,
like.
no, I have not seen the after show yet.
It's great. It's really funny.
See,
I had to take a good long.
this
And it was during
Evaluation
quarantine, so
of
we
my
had to do a
life.
Zoom.
it's if you look at the way this year has broken down, it's like January and February were like 2020. Like that was it. That was 2020 in
yeah,
January
that
and
was all the
February.
normal 2020 year. Yeah.
Then March was 2020 A, and April and May have been like 2020 B, and I feel like now we have entered 2020 C.
We're in the multiverse.
This is just a multiverse, so I feel like Tiger King happened, even though it was just
Eons.
realistically
Last
2 months
year.
ago.
2020.
Tiger King was a completely different lifetime ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely feels like it.
Different
Yeah.
universe.
In an update, I read a news article that said the investigators who reopened the missing persons case on Carol Baskin's husband have now said that it appears the will that
Yes!
he had was forged.
Yep.
Yes.
And she,
One-
Got his
100%
thing
for it.
After she got his zoo.
yeah, and she won his zoo.
She got Joe Exotic Zoo.
Yes, she finally
There was-
beat him.
There was one meme that was going around, or a picture, and basically for those, I don't want to spoil for some of those, but sorry, spoilers. If you haven't watched it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If someone hasn't watched it at this point, they don't need to. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's
and they
like,
don't want to.
You
and
don't
that's-
want
yeah.
to, and I understand.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Don't blame you.
Everybody's terrible.
One of the pictures that they were showing was the conspiracy theory that Carol Baskin's first husband, when she was 19, when she had the child and all that, is Jeff Lowe.
Oh yes, I have heard this. Yes.
And so
saw
hang
that.
on.
Go for
hang
it.
on,
Go
hang
for it.
on.
Go for it.
So Jeff Lowe comes out of nowhere. He does not show any of his hairline. He has that bandana and the hat, and and then I was sitting there like, this is dumb. This is like somebody has too much time on their hands. And then they put the pictures next to each other, and I started reevaluating my life, like all of my choices. I was sitting there going, oh no, like they look exactly alike. I haven't done any math because, but I don't
but who amongst
know
us
if
wants
they're the
to?
same age, but I mean, I looked at it and I was like, you know what? I'm done with the internet for the day. I'm gonna go and read a book.
Alternate timelines. Jeff Lowe is her husband from a different timeline.
Oh man.
Where
Fucking
they're-
fringe, man.
all the timelines are converging in the worst possible way.
Can we hop into
Oh my
the better
God.
one then?
It's fucking fringe.
If you're a Community fan, this is the worst
This
timeline.
is the
Man.
darkest timeline, and I want to not be that.
All right. Well, this has been a really fun episode. So thank you
Absolutely.
all so much.
Yeah.
Over the next couple of weeks, next up we have an NXT pay-per-view that is on
In
June
your house.
7th, correct? That's just a few days away. So
Very
you can be
excited about That's gonna be so
The
much
fact that they
fun.
brought back the classic.
Yes.
so you can
I'm
be on
very excited because I'm not familiar with the in your house concept. I don't know if it's just like
That was
a regular.
that was just their
pay-per-view.
original pay-per-view branding. It was just in your house, and they would have like a subtitle. But that's what it was for the longest time. And
Well,
it's
I will give NXT some credit. They have been doing really good with continuing storylines right now, even
Yes.
though, like in the beginning of all this, they were starting storylines, and then all of a sudden, shit would just stop, and they would never say why. But I mean, I honestly think it's because people were getting sick and they just didn't want to post about it. But like, they would just have to redirect, and they were constantly redirecting and constantly putting people in different spots, and even like moving them to different shows for a bit. Like, so it's just been kind of crazy to see how, like David was saying, like how stuff started in January versus, you know, what it looks like now. And I think it's really helped that they have gotten some of the talent that are not on the like A roster, I guess. They are the crowd members now.
Yes.
They're behind this really weird plexiglass thing, but
I felt like I was watching hockey.
yeah, it kind of gives you that feeling. But there was still some sense of like normalcy coming back a little bit, because I know, Doggz, you had, you know, voiced an opinion about the lack of audience and how you felt about that. I kind of got used to it a little bit, and it became more of like I was watching dress rehearsal of a theater production.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and it kind of shifted your way of watching it a little bit, and you could really hear the bumps a lot better. You could hear like when they would, you know, take stuff really hard, and that was really cool to watch. But now that they've incorporated people back into it, even though it's not a full crowd, it kind of was jarring at first, because you're so used to being quiet now, and then you have people.
I will say when I watched the AEW pay-per-view, it made me realize how much I did kind of miss crowds, because they had the AEW people out in the stands watching, and it made such a huge difference, especially Big Swole.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I love that woman.
Apparently she made a
Chris,
name
we'll
for
have a
herself
talk.
that night.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted
Chris,
to-
we'll definitely have a talk about that one.
I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you two really quick. What are Shelby and Gina? What are your thoughts on Dijakovic and Matt Riddle and who else? The name just fell out. Velveteen Dream moving up the roster, moving up to the main shows.
I missed Velveteen Dream. Wait, what?
Yeah, Velveteen Dream, Dijakovic, and Matt Riddle are.
They're
I
on-
want
Well,
to say
I knew.
They're on deck to get ruined by the main shows.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Okay, so Chris, you have a point, because that was going to be the thing that I was going to say. I think now, and obviously I'm a little biased because NXT is my favorite, hence why.
Yeah.
It's just a continuing pattern every time they do it.
It is. Well, so like my prime example is Finn Balor. So when he was like the king of NXT when he was there, he was like the longest reigning champion. Everybody loved him. He was like super popular with the Demon King and everything, and then they moved him up to the quote-unquote main roster, and they didn't know what to do with him. So they just literally, like, he was barely seen on TV. He was moved from brand to brand, and he barely got any TV time. And when he did, it just didn't work. Like, they tried to put him with people, and it just wouldn't work. And so now that he's moved back down, I feel like he's thriving a lot more because he has a little bit more creative control. So I think with the times that are like they are now, it's really interesting that they are moving people from show to show, because I would think that if you were in COVID times where things are really dicey and we don't know what's coming next, you would want a secure roster.
Yeah.
So that way you could at least have something to show on TV. Now, I know that there's a lot of, talent in the back that are going to be pushed up because of this, and that's great, but you have main people like Riddle was the tag team champion.
Yeah. Like, what are they going to do about that now?
Yeah, Dijakovic was in the running for the North American Championship. I didn't know about Velveteen Dream, but he has a NXT title shot on Sunday.
Yeah, literally the biggest match was supposed to be him again, for the title, and that's kind of frustrating, to be honest.
I will say, I think the plus possibly to doing this now, before they're allowed to have people back in, and that they have control over for the most part, over the people they have there to act as an audience, is now you can kind of move them and secure them in these spots without the crowd voicing their disapproval. And by the time crowds are back in, they'll probably be used to it and not revolt against something. Now, they still could, because
That's
fans...
a strong point.
But it's like, this is like the most opportune time for them to do it, because the crowd won't go nuts,
Yeah, that's true.
That's the only devil's advocate thing I feel like would work in that situation.
Yeah, it'll be interesting on Sunday to see how things play out.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's coming up next. And then after that, on June the 14th, we've got WWE Backlash coming up.
Yes.
The WWE's next pay-per-view. So that's bound to be a blast. And then later this month, we are going to be continuing our Quentin Tarantino discussion with From Dusk Till Dawn and his segment of the movie Four Rooms. So that's all the content that's going to be coming out over the next few weeks. So let's go around. Doggz, if somebody wants to follow you online or contact you, how can they do that?
Well, you kind of can't. I have, I told you I've been leaning back from social media here. I've cut it out completely. I think maybe sometime this year I might open up my Instagram account again, but it will mainly be just to promote This Is a Work, This Is a Takeover, Long Walk Talks, things of that nature. I started thinking about it, and I was like, I did really, really well without social media. I think I could do well again. So yeah, I've completely cut it out.
All right, so you're social media distancing like Stan.
Yes.
Well, Chris, if people want to contact you online, where can they reach you at?
I mean, they don't, but if they want to, I'm on Twitter as Chris the OK.
Shelby, how about you?
I am on Instagram as Slay All Ray, and if you want to follow me on Facebook, I'm not on there very much anymore. It's just Shelby Ray.
Thank you. And Gina, what about you?
My Instagram is pretty much like my big thing. So I'm at Broadway Baby 1218, and yeah, I think my Facebook shall stay my
Private.
personal thing.
Gotcha. Listeners,
not that I post anything bad. It's just I want it to be mine.
Yeah.
And if you want to follow me online, best place to do that would be Instagram at DB Hensley. If you have any thoughts about any of our three shows, Long Walk Talks, This Is a Work, or This Is a Takeover, and if you'd like to try to contact Doggz but can't, you can email me at david.longwalk@gmail.com. If you enjoy this show, please make sure to leave us a rating and a review on whatever platform you're listening on. And I hope that you stay tuned for our next couple episodes over the next few weeks. So thank you guys very much for being a part of this. And thank you, listeners, for being part of our community.
Peace out.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.